How's it going, everybody? By now I assume most people know about the zone flicker, but nonetheless I still see a lot of nonsense written about it. So let's start with simply explaining what it is and how it occurs. A zone flicker is an extra indicator that appears before a hero's zone attack. This is done by not pressing the heavy and light attack at the same time, but slightly delaying the input between them. I did some tests to determine the maximum delay. The macro on the screen right now is in German, but I guess everyone can figure out what it means. I kept increasing the delay in 10 millisecond steps until it stopped working. Mind you, that the input of these macros aren't 100% of what they say. So there's a margin of error in these tests, but it should still give us a pretty good idea. Once I reached 150 milliseconds it had its hiccups, and at 200 milliseconds it stopped working completely. So this means you can delay the input up to roughly 200 milliseconds. This delay also affects how long the flicker indicator is shown. There's no set timing, it varies a lot actually. This brings us also to the first thing I want to emphasize. All characters can flicker their zone attack. It's not something that only works on the usual suspects like Orochi or PK. The good old flicker happened by accident excuse doesn't really hold up that well in my opinion. Yes, there are characters that are a lot more zone attack dependent than others, but the likelihood in which a flicker occurs should still be the same, right? Just ask yourself this. Since the raider buffs, you probably see a lot of them do zone attack into stunning tap from neutral. How often did you get flickered by them? Now compare this to how often you get accidentally flickered by Orochis. This is not me complaining here, I'm just a little tired of that excuse. Most people should be able to consistently press two buttons at the same time, right? The next thing is probably new to you, as even I didn't know until the very moment I edited these clips. I did these exact tests like 2 months back with Big Head Logan to see whether a flicker speeds up the zone attack, and the answer was a resounding no. I don't know what Ubisoft did, but this certainly changed. What I can tell is that the length of the flicker has no influence on the amount of time the zone animation is reduced. The longest flicker produced was 200 milliseconds with an Orochi, followed up by a 400 millisecond zone. As a rule of thumb, the zone is roughly reduced by 100 milliseconds. Thankfully, PK's is unaffected. Can't get any faster than 400 milliseconds it seems. I'm still a little stumped now while recording the voiceover, as I was expecting to tell you something completely different in this section here. I don't know which patch changed this, but I'm 100% sure this wasn't the case in the past, because I would have made the video back then and not now. If someone is watching that knows how to check this as well, then please do so and confirm or debunk my findings here. Well, I guess we can move on to the more well-known and boring stuff. An advice I still keep reading is, don't look at the indicator, look at the animation. That advice is utter horseshit. As you can see, the animation of the first input is clearly being shown. This can be both a light attack as well as a heavy for some characters. If a warden for example flickers top, he's most likely done it with a heavy. You could also pay attention to his stamina bar, as the flickered attacks still consume stamina as if performed normally. Nobushi's zone flicker is a little special, as she can unlock hers to speed it up even more by moving the hitbox. Depending on the player, this is usually a 300-400 millisecond animation, so it's sped up considerably. Well, I guess that's it. I hope this was helpful and you learned something. I sure did. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.